recognition, and may God's love be with you.
Back in 2005, Channel 4 done a program, a reality TV show called Space Cadets, where they picked the most gullible people they could find, and the premise was they would basically convince them that they're training to be astronauts, and then they were going to send them up into space. And they took them through fairly realistic training, and they had a couple of people who were insiders in the group just to sort of cheer them on, and they took them on these classes, and most of what was said in the classes were fairly true, but they had to slip in these odd lies, especially basically about why there's no, obviously they couldn't recreate there not being gravity in space, so they had to give them some sort of explanation as to why there's not going to be any gravity when they go into space, these they go into this little virtual space shuttle where they have a little ride, and at the end they're sort of convinced there it is, it's all a set, and then they're brought out, and then there's the big reveal that they're not in space. They're actually just on a Channel 4 TV program, and this very much reminds me of Crimescene to Courtroom, where he's brought them on this journey, with Lucy Letby, and all the followers have just been convinced that she's guilty, because he's been telling truths in the fact that he's just been reading the transcripts the whole time. But I have to say, for the first 2 years or something, I think he was for the first year, I think he was actually only ever reading the prosecution's side, and he didn't even read the defence until recently. And I think obviously after so much criticism, he did end up reading the defence, but obviously couldn't help but put in his comments. Like a lot of people say, how is he biased when all he does is read the transcripts and the facts? And in the beginning, he did just read the transcripts and was fairly, he gave his odd opinion, but this is just 12 days ago. Also, I got banned from this show and from this channel, presumably just for expressing my doubts about the verdict by the mods. So I presume they had been part of the culture, is to remove, don't let anyone correct the record, as it were, and give out any correct the facts. And so that they would, I'm presuming that in the early days they would systematically ban anyone who expresses doubt about the conviction. Obviously they can't, as time had gone on, they can't, keep banning everyone. Otherwise the ban list would be too long. So I don't think they're banning people at the moment, but they definitely used to. So people would say, yeah, he's, all he's doing is reading the transcripts. Well, this is just 12 days ago. This wasn't the court case as the Thirlwall inquiry, but this is the sort of this is the sort of stuff we get
Much about who said what.
about Arian Powell.
Anything that makes Arian look bad, she's simply going to say she doesn't remember, isn't she? Because she hasn't written down anything. She's never disciplined Lucy in her life, because Lucy, the sun shines out of Lucy's butthole, as far as Arian Powell's concerned, and that's the facts of it. That's the cold hard facts.
Yeah, just stuff like that all the way. There's no way that is just reading the transcripts of the Thirlwall inquiry, is it? And that he would do stuff like that for the trial things, and then the big reveal. Although, funnily, I won't be able to find it now, but he was talking about. He actually said, "Oh, by the way, next Tuesday there's going to be an announcement. So I'll have to cover that on Tuesday or Wednesday." And obviously, he stayed silent. He just posted. He posted the he posted the coverage, but he didn't make any comment at all, and he's stayed.
In this case,
He hasn't even commented in the comment section or anything for like a week. But yeah, that's that. Other thing I wanted to talk about is there's one thing the justice system and the government hate, and that is embarrassment. But there's something they hate more than embarrassment, and that is international embarrassment, which is what this has turned into. They've been Dr. Shu Lee and his presentation was so good, it just sideswiped the prosecution team and the justice system. They weren't prepared for it at all. It's a complete derailment, and it's hit international now. There's the New York Times, ABC in Australia, Al Jazeera in the Middle East, and so they're under international pressure now to speed things up. Now, before, what they were going to do before this press conference is obviously the truth was coming out. We would the more people investigated it, the more flaws you found with the case, and because people were getting closer to the truth, they with this Operation Hummingbird, they needed to move the goalposts a lot further away, and so they were doing. They were going to continue with the investigations into her past in Liverpool Women's Hospital, whatever, and just do the same again with the, messing about with the stats and whatever, and just sort of come up with much the same. It worked the first time. They'll just try it. They thought, they'll just try it again. This time, pulling out airlines or something silly. But I actually think, even though they've been recruiting people for it, and they said it was going to be a 3-year period that they're going to do this, I actually can't see that going ahead. Because with this international panel, so much light has been shone on it, they would just be too stupid to try it again. They need, and this is the thing with the police especially should know to stop trying to cover things up and just come clean, because eventually, and they should know themselves, of everybody, they should know that the truth always comes out in the end. You know, you can't hide it. No matter how much, no matter how what sort of efforts you go to hide it, the truth will always come out. You know, there's no such thing as the perfect crime, and they should know this. And so, I don't think this is going to go ahead. I don't think they're going to bother to bring any more charges or anything, because there's so much light being put on it with this sideswiping of a international panel that went on. Okay.